Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nutrition Reveals. I'm Dr. Alexis. I'm a holistic physical therapist, functional medicine pro, and food pain expert. Thanks for joining me. If you are tuning in for the first time, welcome. If you are not tuning in for the first time, then you know that today's talk is my follow-up to a little series that I'm doing about the liver health, liver function, all things liver related. Why am I doing that? Because there's just been so much growth in the progress of my clients and growth in my own personal experience and personal knowledge with understanding how impactful the liver is to our overall body function and processes, and particularly to the hidden whispers, the hidden signs and symptoms that let us know that our liver may need a little bit of support and help before it becomes a bigger problem later. So, if you tuned in for my last episode, and if you haven't, you should, I covered very briefly an overview of the different categories of liver function. Super, not long story short, but super condensed review. Individually, your liver performs over 500 functions for your body. So yeah, that's a lot. So kind of important. We should probably be paying attention to our livers a little bit more than we usually do. Within those 500 plus functions, it breaks down into kind of around 6 major categories. One is how your body breaks down fats and nutrients so that it can create energy, proteins to help your body function, and hormones. It helps with making certain vitamins and then storing those vitamins along with storing minerals that the body needs for later usage. Making plasma proteins so that your body can transport hormones, manage blood volume, manage blood pressure better. Most of us are familiar with the liver being our main detox organ. So yes, it takes all the waste from our body and makes sure that it's adequately eliminated as quickly and as safely as possible. Your liver also helps with regulation and usage of glucose throughout the body. And then it also helps us manage and transport bile, that substance that helps us break down fats to get it adequately out of our body or to any destinations that some of our fat tissue may be needed for our general health. So in a nutshell, those are our 6 major functions. What I'm going to talk about today is the juicy stuff, is what I call it, the stuff that I get excited about telling people and the stuff that people want to know. I'm going to cover 5 major signs of liver issue, liver dysfunction that I personally feel fly under the radar for a lot of people. Why do I feel that way? Because most of my clients have these issues in their history or they're currently experiencing them, and nobody is really talking to them about how it applies to liver function and taking a closer look at liver function as the solution to resolve these signs. So that's what I'm going to cover for you guys today. I'm going to jump right in. Signs, just so we're all on the same page, signs by definition are the things that we see but don't really feel or experience. So when we feel and experience the thing that's pointing to an issue, that's a symptom. So symptoms are felt and signs are more like seen. So the 5 signs, I'm actually going to refer to things that commonly pop up in testing and blood work, stuff like that. First sign is low iron, or anemia, or diagnoses of anemia, which tons of my clients have. Why does that happen? How does that pertain to, or how does that relate to liver function? Well, iron as we intake it, whether through supplementation or whether through what we eat and drink and stuff like that, it actually needs to be broken down in the liver. And there are actually certain substances that actually attach to the iron to make it easier to be used by the body. And the liver plays a role in those substances as well. So just generally speaking, if the liver is down and out for any type of reason, for an infection-related reason, a toxicity-related reason, anything at all that reduces liver function, the liver function can be reduced in that way such that it's not doing the best job of breaking down iron that like it's supposed to be. So then when your blood is drawn, what do you see? A low iron level. So low iron, looking at liver function. Sign number 2, same thing with blood work, low vitamin D. A lot of us don't realize that vitamin D in its final form is actually made in the liver. When we talk about like getting our vitamin D like from the sun, it's more accurately, you will probably describe it as like a precursor to vitamin D. That precursor from the sun mixes or matches with another precursor in our skin, which is why like they advise like sunlight to be absorbed through the skin. They both have precursors that go into the liver, and the liver uses those precursors to make that end result of what we call vitamin D. From there, vitamin D is sent to your kidneys to be used for other processes. But again, if liver is down and out, that conversion may not be happening from those precursors that are being sent to the liver. So it may be that the vitamin D is not being produced enough, like the production level isn't high enough, or it may not be produced at all. So again, when blood is drawn, it'll come across as, or it will show low vitamin D levels. Number 3, cholesterol issues, particularly high cholesterol. So if you listen to my recap, or if you go back and listen to the previous episode when I talk about major categories of liver function, I mentioned that the liver has certain functions in producing hormones, and it also has a function in transporting hormones, getting them where they need to go. And in both of those cases, again, if liver is down and out and those things aren't happening, 2 things can happen. One, in the case of elevated LDLs, your bad cholesterol, or elevated triglycerides, sometimes that's attributed to a hormone in the liver that is needed to break down fats so that it can be used throughout the body, transported, directed, and used throughout the body. If that hormone isn't being adequately produced because there's a liver issue, then the cholesterol cannot get broken down adequately. So then it'll still show up as a higher level in the blood because liver isn't able to do its job to break it down. Liver also helps transport certain hormones. So in many cases, a lot of my clients have elevated HDL levels, the good cholesterol. And I think it's really interesting because nobody talks about what that means. But it's one of the things that I look for almost first when a client gives me their blood work readings, because elevated HDL levels in the blood could indicate a difficulty with transporting hormones, again, or sometimes cholesterol needs certain vitamins in order for it to be used adequately. I'm going to give you a specific example in the adrenal glands, so that the adrenal glands can kickstart other hormone creation, development, production, and then transport and usage. If adrenal glands are down and out, or actually, I'll point it back to the liver because that'll bring it around better. If liver production for those certain vitamins are down and out, then the extra cholesterol, the HDL cholesterol, is just going to be sitting in the blood waiting to be used, waiting for its vitamin partner from the liver in order to go to the adrenal glands and do their job. So again, if liver's not doing that, cholesterol, HDL, good cholesterol isn't going anywhere, blood is drawn, high cholesterol, high HDL levels would be seen in that case. All righty, next up, thyroid dysfunction. And I'm going to narrow it down to one specific example, even though there are other things related to liver function. The one example I'm going to give you is a low thyroid hormone level in the blood, a low T3, the active thyroid hormone component. Some of you may be familiar with T4 as like the inactive thyroid hormone form, and then T4 is supposed to convert into T3, and then T3 is supposed to be transported through the blood to destination organs, tissues, for use in those areas, for those areas to carry out their job. I will give you a wild guess where the majority of that T4 to T3 conversion is supposed to happen. In the liver. So, again, if that conversion's not happening, blood is drawn, it could be read as, or you could see a low T3 level, and that could be one of the reasons why. And then the final major sign that I often see in clients when I immediately go, we got to look at liver issue, are hormone imbalances. And I know that's a big thing. It's a big thing for a big reason. I'm going to focus on one main hormone, the one that most people always have questions about, and that's estrogen. So how does liver function play a role in estrogen levels, and how can that come up as hormone imbalances? I will say that a lot of my clients have elevated estrogen levels and difficulty keeping those estrogen levels like under control, which often results in them using some type of like hormone therapy thing like that. But if you want to look at the liver's component or the liver's influence, the main thing has to do with the body's or the liver's ability to detoxify, the liver's ability to eliminate excess estrogens. The excess estrogens that either aren't needed or the unnatural estrogens that we take in and use from things that we come into contact with in our everyday life, in our everyday environment. There is a specific subcategory in the liver detoxification process that is specifically geared toward breaking down and making estrogens ready and able to be eliminated from the body. So again, if there's an issue with the liver and that subphase of detox isn't happening, it may be that estrogens aren't able to be broken down and transitioned, I guess could be a word, transitioned adequately so that they can be eliminated. So then they end up just hanging around in the body and causing issues. So, gosh, I feel like I went through that a little bit faster than I originally thought I was going to. But there you have it. 5 major signs, things that you often see but you don't necessarily experience, that can point to issues with liver function. So if this happens to be you, if this happens to be somebody that you know, if you've just heard about it in general, now you know. This could be a turning point in anybody's wellness journey, their healing journey, recovering from any illnesses or conditions. If there isn't a conversation that's taking place about either looking at the liver or addressing any discovered liver dysfunctions, there could be a huge missed opportunity in that person's, like I said, healing, overall wellness, resolution of other associated symptoms, things that are felt or experienced in that person's body in everyday life. And speaking of symptoms, that's actually what I'm going to go over in the last part of this little series that I'm doing on understanding the liver better. I'm going to give you some major symptoms that usually, again, kind of get blown off / fly under the radar, but point to liver function and point to maybe paying attention to giving the liver a little bit more support so that processes can take place a little bit better and those symptoms can be better managed. So you're going to do a backtrack if you didn't look at episode 1, if you want a better understanding of the major functions of the liver, and then you're going to stay tuned because my next episode is going to cover those major symptoms that can be related to liver function. Thanks again for tuning in, guys. Stay happy and healthy, and I'll be back soon.